everyone. Welcome to Leicester and to the King Power Stadium, where Leicester City kickstart their Premier League campaign against Brentford. And what a weekend of football we have had already. And today the Premier League returns for Leicester and Brentford. New ambitions, new faces, but a familiar feeling of anticipation with 294 days of twists and turns ahead. Well, the former Ireland and Tottenham defender Stephen Kelly is alongside me for this one. And Stephen, an interesting matchup between the two sides this afternoon. What are you expecting to see?
Yeah, it's actually really hard to call because both sides, you think, haven't really strengthened loads in the summer. And when they go into this game, there's loads of anticipation. There's probably nervous around this campaign, what's going to happen. You see Schmeichel gone, but you know both teams are going to be up for it. It's going to be a tough match for both of them, but you kind of think being at home, Leicester have got to be the favourites for it. But and Brentford are hoping to continue on with the vein they had last season. You know, to do what they did in the Premier League last year was amazing, so they've got to try and keep that up.
Well, the atmosphere inside this stadium is electric. It is packed out, and as the fans take to their seats, the two teams make their way out. Leicester City led out by their new captain Jonny Evans in their deep blue shirts and blue shorts, blue socks as well. They make their way towards the officials, closely followed by the Brentford team and their captain Pontus Jansson. And whilst the players line up, take you through the two teams. So for Leicester, Danny Ward gets the nod in goal after Kasper Schmeichel left the club for Nice earlier on in the week. Fullback Ricardo Pereira has been ruled out for 6 months after rupturing his Achilles in the friendly against Sevilla. So we're expecting back three of Wesley Fofana alongside Jonny Evans, who's been named, as we mentioned before, as the new captain for Leicester, and Daniel Amati also in that back three. Timothy Castagna and James Justin as the two wing-backs. Wilfred Ndidi will play the holding midfielder with Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Yuri Tillemans either side. James Maddison starting in that number 10 role behind Jamie Vardy. Also worth mentioning, Harvey Barnes also facing several weeks out after he suffered an injury also at pre-season. As for Brentford then, Thomas Frank gives debuts to two of his new signings, Aaron Hickey, who signed from Bologna, and Ben Mee, who signed on a free from Burnley. David Raya in goal, back four of Aaron Hickey on the right, Ben Mee, captain Pontus Jansson at the centre-backs, and Rico Henry on the left. In midfield, Matthias Jensen joins Christian Norgard and Vitaly Janelt. Brandon Burmo starts on the right side of the front three with Jan Wisser on the left. Ivan Toney starts up top. Referee today, 35-year-old Australian Sharon Gillen. Your thoughts, Stephen Kelly, on those two teams?
Yeah, when you look, I think the midfield for Leicester looks really strong, with Maddison playing in front and looking to link up as much as he can with Vardy. You know, Vardy's so willing to make those runs, and Maddison picks him out really well, so you feel that's where they're going to be strongest. And obviously with Brentford, the loss of Christian Eriksen in that middle of the park, where he was such a driving force for them, so you feel that's where the game's going to be won or lost. But you know, I say Leicester have the advantage at the moment, being at home with the team they have, but Brentford, like I said, they know how to get games done. They're resilient, and with Tony up front, they really cause defence's problem.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks whilst that transfer window is still open. Bit of business being done for Brentford. No business at all, though, Stephen, for Leicester City this summer yet. Brendan Rodgers, incredibly, the only manager in Europe's top 5 leagues yet to make a summer signing.
Yeah, it is. And if you're a fan here, it's probably worrying times, because so many players have been pinpointed by other Premier League teams that they're wanted, and they seem to be making bid offers, and they're trying to get them through the door. Maddison, obviously, Fofana, Tielemans for a long period of time has been interesting by a lot of teams. So when teams have their eyes on your players and you're bringing people in to replace them, that's a worrying time. But they're still here, they're on the pitch now, they're going to perform for Leicester, and that's what Leicester have to do. They have to hold on to them more. Over the last few seasons, they've recruited really well. Like, they've let some of the best players in the Premier League, Kante, Mahrez, over the last few seasons have left this club, but they've still been able to progress and stay high up in the league, finishing in the top tier. So I think they need to continue on with that.
Well, almost ready to get underway here as both Leicester City and Brentford looking to kickstart their Premier League campaigns. We can see the two managers on our screens in front of us. Brendan Rodgers in his smart suit on the touchline alongside Thomas Frank for Brentford. Worth mentioning, Brentford in their home kit, so their red and white striped shirts and their black shorts as their players take the knee ahead of kickoff. As a reminder, and to continue the message that there is no room for racism. And we're underway. It's Brentford who get us underway. Brentford kicking from left to right as we see the Brentford fans right in the corner of the King Power Stadium. They've come out in their numbers, as have the Leicester City fans, who I'm sure have been waiting for this day. Well, 5 places, 6 points separated the two clubs last season. Big ambitions this year for both, though Brentford, of course, will be hoping to break their 6-game winless curse against Leicester today. Brian Mbeumo's got the ball to his feet on the right side, looking just to create some early opportunity. Gets it back to the new signing, Aaron Hickey, who's there in support. And Hickey just looking to swing that ball into the box, almost getting an early corner for his side, but it's well defended in the end by Amati. And it will be one of these games, Stephen, where both Brentford and Leicester had mid-table finishes last season. They'll be hoping for a little bit more this season, won't they?
Brentford would have been delighted with that finish last season, only coming up new in the Premier League, unexpected, and that first season where they come in and they cause a lot of problems, and it's what unexpected. It's the second season where it's going to really kind of count and see if they can continue on. Leicester, just gradually they've been dropping down the league from 5th place finishes to an 8th last season, and I think for them they'd love to be back up in the Champions League if they could, but every other team in the league has strengthened, every other team has moved on in those top 6, top 4 places, and Leicester have kind of stand still. They don't want to stagnate, they want to progress, and I think for them having a good campaign is so important.
Ball at the feet of Johnny Evans, who got a huge round of applause when he led his Leicester City side out onto this pitch. It's a lovely sunny day in Leicester. It's nice temperature as well, I think about 22 degrees, which of course no complaints about that. Perfect conditions for the players as well, and no surprises really when we heard the news that Johnny Evans was going to be the replacement captain after Kasper Schmeichel left Leicester for Nice earlier on in the week, and it's a good fit for him, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. You know, that's the type of player he is. He leads by example. He's so consistent in his performance levels. Him and Vardy are the real leaders in this group, so I would have felt it was going to be one of those who are going to step in, but it's still a blow for Schmeichel to be gone. To have a player that's been at the club, that knows it inside out for so long, and Ward, who's struggled with injury throughout pre-season as well, coming into this game with not much game time at all, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. I know goalkeeper's slightly different, but yeah, Evans was definitely the standout candidate.
Well, at the moment all of the possession has been in the Leicester City half, as Brentford were hoping to put a little bit of pressure on. There is a Brentford player down, not quite sure who it is, it's on the far side. I think it's Rico Henry.
Yeah, there's a clash of heads. I think is it Madison may come in behind them and just caught him. It's actually Vardy. They're coming together.
Well, Ben Mee and Rico Henry both going for the ball, as was Jamie Vardy. It was Rico Henry who came out the worst of it, but he's back up on his feet, just a little shake of his head to get that away. And play gets back underway as well. Wilfred Ndidi passing it through to Wesley Fofana, who another player for Leicester City who has been spoken about quite a lot during this transfer window, whether or not he will be leaving. It was quite clear in Brendan Rodgers' press conference that none of his players are up for sale, but money talks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does, and like you said, you can see over the last few seasons how that they've let their best players go, but the recruitment has been very good in bringing people in of a similar ilk, so I think that's going to be very important if any of these two players are to leave, but they can allow for a huge spine of their side to go. The team's built around these players, and you've got to retain the majority of them if you want to have a successful season.
Marty through to Ndidi on the centre circle, just getting ushered off the ball, but does well there Ndidi to keep hold of the possession. Back to Amati, who's playing in that left side of the back three for Leicester. Now it's an opportunity for Jamie Vardy to try and run forward. It was well defended in the end by the new signing Ben Mee, who got that ball clear away from Brentford. Yeah, it's a very typical Jamie Vardy run, just off the shoulder of the defender on the outside, but Mee just reads it, comes across and puts in a crunch and tackle. Sanya with the ball back now, and Ndidi, and looking for Madison, who's through the middle, just looking to get a little bit more comfortable in this game, Leicester City, because they were under a bit of early pressure from Brentford. But now it's Leicester City who come forward. On the far right side, it's found Yuri Tillemans, overlapping run, and back it goes to Ndidi through, looking for Madison, who was making a sharp run forward. Back out it goes again for Daniel Amatu took quite an ambitious shot really, but it went wide.
Yeah, it was another crunch attack from Ben Mee on Maddison that comes out to him. He just thinks he's going to hit it first time. It's always going away from goal, but ambitious effort.
David Raya with the ball at his feet. Kept 8 Premier League clean sheets last season, kept 4 in their final 10 Premier League games. Both teams really ending the season quite well. Leicester City had a pretty good end to their season really, although in the grand scheme of things I'm sure when they look back at it was quite a disappointing finish where they ended up. Johnny Evans now for Leicester, through to Ndidi. This is Kiernan Dewsbury Hall who has it on the left side, finding James Justin, who's making that pacey run forward, has to go up against Aaron Hickey. And they've done it well enough, and it goes out for a throw-in.
Yeah, it's hard when you're right-footed full-back playing left-back, because you want to go on the outside, you want to offer that option, but it's never as comfortable trying to cross on your left foot, so he's always going to try and chop back inside, and as an opposing full-back, you know he wants to do that, so you can kind of read where he's going to go. But Dewsbury Hall has picked up a really good position in between the midfield and the forward lines, and he's picked up the ball really well, looking over his shoulder, so he could be a threat.
Hickey on the ball, can't get it away from Vardy, who's just looking to get forward, but it was a big block by the Brentford captain Pontus Jansson. But Leicester City have themselves an early corner.
Yeah, and again, Vardy just drifting out to his left-hand position. He's looking lively from the start, and when he picks up in those areas, he just wants one thing: he wants to run directly at defenders, get into the box.
So corner kick to be taken by James Maddison for Leicester City. Wilfred Ndidi right in front of the Brentford goalkeeper Raya. The ball comes in and it's headed straight out, back out to James Justin. He was just waiting to collect that ball halfway inside the Brentford half. Leicester have it back in their possession, and now Tielemans playing it through to Ndidi. This is Fofana, and they're just getting themselves back and set in their positions. Fofana in the centre circle. Out to Tielemans. Now Johnny Evans again. And really, I suppose this is good work from Leicester, where they're just getting themselves comfortable in the game, growing themselves into it, not giving Brentford any opportunities with possession.
You can see they're just trying to split that Brentford midfield, where they're trying to get Maddison in behind the lines. Early on he got one pass in there and it just his touch let him down, but that's what they're trying to create. They're going to try and drag the midfield out, create a gap between the back four and the midfield, so then he's popping up in the space. He's just popped up there again, and to get the ball into in that area, that's where he's at his most dangerous.
Wesley Fofana playing it across. Tielemans trying to get that ball away. They couldn't hold on to it. There's quite a mix really at the right of the far side between Brentford and Leicester. It was between Castagne just trying to hold on to that ball, couldn't quite get there, but they've got the ball back in their possession in the end. Indeed, that ball over the top was looking to make a bit of a run there for James Maddison, didn't work out. Now Brentford could come forward with Hickey on this right side, playing it through to Mbeumo. Now Brentford just trying to hold on to that, but they force back Vitaly Janelt, who's had to be going back to his captain Jansson, and now Ben Mee on the left side of the centre-back too. Quite a nice pairing really, isn't it? Pontus Jansson and Ben Mee, as that looping ball goes forward. It's a decent delivery in on the left side, just headed away by Leicester. Early signs of encouragement for Brentford. They've got it back as well. Over the top it goes, and Mbeumo's there. Big strike from him, straight into the hands though of Ward.
Yeah, it was. There's a little ball over the top. It's on his weaker right foot, so he just doesn't get the power on he wants. It's an easy save for Ward in the end, but a couple of signs there that Brentford get in behind him. The initial cross just can't get over Evans' head, and I think it was Tony just behind him. And this time here, one little clip ball over Evans into Mbeumo, and he just doesn't get the connection, but shows that they can be a threat in those forward areas.
Maddison for Leicester City has the ball back to Johnny Evans. And now Marty through to Ndidi. Nice little turn to get a bit of space, and Ndidi is allowed to run forward, but it's quickly stopped by Brentford, and now looking to create a little bit of space themselves, going back and forth really between the chances, and it's been quite camped up in the centre of the field, but as we were mentioning before, between Pontus Jansson and Ben Mee seems to be quite a good fit really for Brentford.
Yeah, he is. It's always nice when you see a left footer playing left side centre back. It's a nice balance for them. And he's so experienced in the Premier League now. He's played in a team that's been up against it. They've struggled for a long period of time, and you know Brentford are going to have the moments in this season where it's not going to be going their way, and he's someone who's been there and done it and knows what it takes just to grind their results. So yeah, he's definitely been an astute signing for them.
Well, Fofana looking for that ball through to James Maddison. It was quickly picked up and sent away by Rico Henry, and out for a goal kick, and it was good defending in the end as they were putting the pressure on Leicester City.
Yeah, Leicester have been very good when on the turnover and winning the ball back and putting Brentford under pressure.
So goal kick from Raya. Over the top, looking for a strong header for Fofana just to keep it in play, and they've got it back, Leicester, with Ndidi, but it's quickly taken away from him by Norgard. Now Brentford looking to come forward. Back onto the right it goes to Hickey. He's got a bit of space to run forward, but Burmo's there as the support. Hickey decides to go back to Jansson, and then Ben Mee is there in support as well. Now the game opening up slightly. Rico Henry all the way on that left side of the wing, and they stick to their familiar formation really, don't they, Brentford, of that 4-3-3, and there were question marks about whether they will be able to cope without Christian Eriksen, but they have the support. Mikkel Damsgaard is looking likely to come to Brentford as well, and will be quite a good replacement for him.
Yeah, I think when it comes to coping and defensively being solid, that's not going to be an issue. It's just that creativity that they're going to lack, I think, with Eriksen, because what he does is he picks pockets in between, similar to what Maddison tries to do, and Tony knows he can make runs off and he'll be found, and that's a player that's always looking for the ball high up the pitch, where at the moment you can see when the fullback Hickey gets it, he's looking for a pass, and it's only in Burmo on the right hand side.
Goalless here as the shot comes in and it's punched away by Raya. It was Yuri Tillemans on the edge of the box on the right side who just saw his opportunity, took his chances. Well, a big save from Raya. Yeah,
brilliant. Great. Maddison dropped really deep to pick up the pass, and he found a wonderful pass into Tillemans, who gets a really good turn on, and he gets his head up, and you know he can hit it. Great angle, catches it really well, and it's a decent save.
Leicester 0, Brentford 0. 12 minutes gone in this game, and now Burmo for Brentford looking to come forward. Plays it back to Jan Elton, now on Burmo again. 5 Live Sports Extra as this game, Leicester 0, Brentford 0. Both sides looking to open their Premier League campaigns with a victory, and the ball goes out right in front of the touchline, and it's Thomas Frank who picks up the ball and sends it back for a throw-in to Brentford, which was not the agreeable decision from the fans inside this stadium, but I think too much of it as it goes back to Raya and now Ben Mee.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it took a deflection there, so the fans are right on top of it. But I think you're looking at Brentford and they're just struggling to find any kind of momentum in the half of Leicester. They press them, they close them down, and even these balls around the corner, there's one down the side here, Johnny Evans, who reads it really well, but they're just giving the ball away too easy when they get to the final third.
Jan Alt's done really well to keep hold of the ball there. Burmo trying to get that cross in.
Yeah, he gets his head up, and you can see there's just a change of position. Tony comes out wide and Bumo's gone into the middle. They've stayed there now, and he actually tries to cross it. Again, Leicester have closed them down and got the block on.
A reminder that you can hear commentary of West Ham against the holding Premier League champions Manchester City. That gets underway from 4:30 this afternoon. Elsewhere over on 5 Live right now, you can hear full match commentary of Manchester United against Brighton. Big match in the Premier League as well. Questions over who Erik ten Hag was going to pick for his first ever Premier League match. Cristiano Ronaldo on the bench for that one. But here, it's Leicester 0, Brentford 0, and Leicester City looking to come forward with James Justin.
It's just a little bit, it's scrappy, isn't it? Neither team have got loads of control. Leicester are definitely in a sense that they've been in better positions, a couple of shots in the final third, but they haven't really caused a big threat. Shots from outside the box, 20 yards out.
Ball on that right side from Castagna. Ball comes in as well. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall was there. Good defending in the end by Vitaly Janel just to get the ball away, but Dewsbury-Hall in a perfect position, just couldn't quite direct it on target.
It's a great cross in from Castagna into a really dangerous area, and Janel does so well defensively because he tracks his man the whole way. It's such a vital touch here because Dewsbury-Hall is just behind them, ready to pounce. He's only about on the 6-yard box. That's such a vital interception.
Another corner then to Leicester City on this left side. It's sent in by Madison straight into the hands of David Raya, and in the end quite a disappointing corner kick there from Leicester. Nothing too testing for the Brentford goalkeeper, and an opportunity for Brentford to try and come forward. Ball back onto the right side now to Hickey. Hickey, who's that new signing from Bologna, was then, when they signed him, a club record deal, 18 million. Since been taken over as the ball just looking to get into a little bit of space for Whistler to chase it down, but quickly away by Evans.
It's a good pass. It comes from Tony, who's dropped really deep, and he's trying to draw some of those centre-backs out, and then Whistler's made a run across the line to try and get him behind them. But you know, when you see Hickey gets the ball and he looks up and Tony's beside him and Whistler hasn't made a run, it's just to see a blue shirt and there's no one really to pass it to.
0-0 it is here at King Power Stadium. The opening Premier League match for Leicester and Brentford. 16 minutes on the clock. Ensign with it. Really big throw into that box, looking to create something there, but it just went out, and back out it goes to David Raya, who's way out of his area, playing more of an outfield position there.
Yeah. I think the goalkeepers are, you know, they pick up I think they're so good with the ball at their feet now. It's great that they can come out and be that last man of defence, you know, and there's an option to pass them back as well.
Did you ever have to tell your goalkeeper, get back in goal, this is scaring me? Brentford with the ball, playing it back to Norgard, and now Ben-Mee across to Pontus Jansson. Aaron Hickey on the right side, who can play either side really, left side or right side, but I suppose the fact that Rico Henry has been a well-trusted left back for Brentford, when you're a new signing, you kind of have to just slot in, don't you?
Yeah, it is, and you see it's a good balance. He is right-footed, he's comfortable on both feet.
Oh, nice ball over the top. This could be an opportunity. It was Ivan Toney who was making that run in. Well spotted though by Danny Ward.
It was a simple just volley over the top, beats the whole Leicester defence, and Toney, his first touch is excellent, his second touch lets him down, just takes it too close to the goalkeeper. He sets himself up. This touch here just gets away from him. Ward is lively too, he comes out brave, gets his body down. Nice block, but Toney should really do better. I know it's early on in the season, you probably haven't found your legs yet, but that second touch just takes it too close to the goalkeeper. It's a great chance.
Well, perhaps one of the biggest chances so far in the opening 18 minutes of this match. Still goalless here on 5 Sports Extra, as we're bringing you the opening match of the Premier League season for Leicester against Brentford. Ball is with Leicester and Wesley Fofana. Just looking for some options, decides to go to the right with Castagna, who's got a bit of space to run into. Goes behind to Tielemans and back to Fofana, as Leicester City just edging closer to a dangerous attack. But really, the chances haven't really been coming in thick and fast for either side, have they? No,
and Brentford are working really hard in that middle of the park because they know they're kind of outnumbered, but they're screening, they're trying to get between the lines, they try not allow them to pass the ball into Vardy's feet, into Madison's, who's trying to get behind them. They're always looking over his shoulder to where that player is.
Indeed, back to Fofana now. Tielemans, who's found himself a little bit of space, ball over the top, looking for Madison! Well, it was a big header and it just inches wide past David Raya, and he couldn't find the target, but what a chance.
It was a great bit of play because Tielemans picks up on the right hand side and Vardy goes really short, creating that space, and Madison sees it, darts in behind, he floats the ball in, and you know what, you think this is going to go in the bottom corner. He almost gets perfect, it's a dive-in header, turns last second and it just edges past the post, but it's a perfectly weighted pass into the box from Tielemans. Great chance.
It was a fabulous delivery, wasn't it? Almost looked like James Maddison was already falling over as he was diving for that ball, but best chance of the game so far, but it's still goalless. And now a chance for Brentford to come forward. I thought perhaps there might have been a foul in there onto Ivan Toney, but now Leicester City have the ball back. Castagna making the run, back out it goes to Tielemans. This is Maddison who gets it halfway inside the Brentford half. Back out it goes to Tielemans, who's just in line with the edge of the box, cutting his way in. Now Ndidi, and it didn't quite work out for him, and Leicester City dispossessed. Now from one end to the other, it'll be Brentford who are trying to make this pacey run. Matthias Jensen with the ball and just calming things down slightly. A little bit of a hectic couple of minutes really after that Leicester City chance. And now the ball with Aaron Hickey.
It's calming it down, but to be honest, Brentford had 4 players in front of him, but 2 of them, Wissa and Toney, both went down the middle. No one went out to the left-hand side to give him an option where someone has to drag someone across there and create that space, because it was a real good chance to try and get counter-attack.
Hickey, and that chance from Leicester City might have just shaken things up a little bit for Brentford. 0-0 though, and 5 Sports Extra. This chance coming for James Maddison, just couldn't quite find the target. Now Janssen for Brentford.
It was really great play from Leicester, just a simple bit of movement from Vardy coming off the line, going showing deep for it, and then Maddison senses and sees the space in behind him and runs in, and then the timing of the pass, Tielemans, those 3 players who have been so pivotal with Leicester for the last few seasons, just doing it again.
A ball over the top again, this time sent in and quickly away. Rico Henry was the player there for Brentford, but couldn't quite find the initial target. Now it's Dewsbury Hall who picks up the ball for Leicester, has a bit of space and plays that ball forward into the box, looking for Jamie Vardy, but couldn't quite find the bend onto it, and David Raya straight on top of it.
Yeah, even with Jamie Vardy's pace, that was going to be too much. It's that run he loves to make, left side of the fence, but the ball is just overplayed and the keeper can come out and claim it.
Pontus Jansson for Brentford. Back across to Ben Mee. We've played 22 minutes of this game, still goalless though. Perhaps Leicester City starting to knock on the door now. Hickey. Well controlled to keep that onto the right side, but it's taken away by Justin, and then after a little bit of frustration from Hickey, that's the foul in on James Justin.
Yeah, Justin just good position, and he tries to take a touch past him first time. Justin opens his body up, saves, and then goes and make the challenge afterwards.
What did you make of the season that Brentford had last season? Obviously their first season back in the Premier League.
I think it shocked a lot of people what they were capable of, but you know, it was such an astute signing and bringing Christian Eriksen at a time when they just needed a lift. They needed to be able to break teams down and score goals. Toney did really well early parts of the season, but as soon as Eriksen came in, it just changed them.
That's a lovely looping ball over to find James Justin, couldn't quite control it, and it's taken away from him by Mbeumo. Mbeumo this time over the top, but it actually found Amati for Leicester. Back to Ndidi, and now Tielemans. Ndidi again. Now Maddison. Looking for that space opening up. A little bit congested on this left side for Maddison, but just waiting for those options to arrive. Amati was behind him, that's who we went for. Now Dewsbury Hall. Back to Amati, and this time he does change it over to Fofana.
It was a great run from Justin, wasn't just getting behind, but his touch just lets them down. That's where you, as it comes across, you need to take it across your man into the box. They might even foul you when you get into those positions because you're cutting them off, but his touch lets them down and he comes back and allows the tackle. Amati
now for Leicester, picked up by Maddison. Hoping to continue that momentum after that chance that they had that James Maddison just couldn't quite get on target. Is there still a sense of start of the season rustiness, do you think, for both sides?
Yeah, and it does. It does take you a couple of games to get into it, and first day of the season, it's always hot, it's sunny, it's difficult conditions to play in, and you know, you're just finding form.
Castagna on the right side, looking to swing this ball in, headed away by Janssen. Back in it goes from Fofana, and it's quickly grasped by Raya. Nothing too dangerous in there for him.
No, the first cross in, it's not a great cross. It's too close to the fence, too close to the goalkeeper. But like you said, it's just teams are finding their feet. They're trying to get the momentum, trying to get rhythm in their play. You know, they would have been working on stuff on pre-season, how the manager wants to set them up, and it's never easy to get that going straight away.
Wissa trying to hold on to this ball for Brentford. It's on the halfway line, but Leicester City have it back now with Maddison through to Dewsbury Hall of the centre circle. They're making their way forward again. James Justin halfway inside the Brentford half on the left side. That was a poor pass, really. He was looking for Maddison. He had to charge for it because Ivan Toney was also waiting for it. Luckily enough, though, Leicester City have the ball back in their possession. And back to Amati. And perhaps there are also question marks about how Leicester City would be setting up their team, whether they were going to go for a back four or a back three. They've gone for that back three because Ricardo Pereira sadly out for a long time, and that'll be a big miss for Leicester. Yeah,
it's a horrible injury. Literally, I did it towards the end of my career, and it's just awful. You feel a snap, and it takes a long time to get back for it, and to get feeling comfortable sprinting and stuff and all, like that part controls all the movement in your body. So yeah, it's going to be a long time, and he's been such an excellent player for them. So that was a big loss on the back of then. Schmeichel leaving, Barnes is out as well. So players that have played a big part in this team's success for the last few seasons are not here and going to be missed for a while.
Fofana with the ball, back to Evans. Now Amati on the left side, finding Maddison, who's made himself an option available, looking to get that crossover to Castagnet. Vardy picked it up but couldn't quite control it, and well defended at the back in the end by Brentford.
Yeah. Maddison finds the pass to Castagnet, but actually the setup was that you had to lay it back to Tielemans, who was just on the edge of the box. It would have been a better option. Vardy had made the run, drawn 3 or 4 defenders with him, and Castagnet creates space, but Tielemans literally standing on the edge of the box waiting for the ball to be set to him.
Tielemans for Leicester, nice looking ball in. Vardy was there. Don't think he could get anything on it, but the flag was up regardless. But again, Youri Tielemans just showing his class and why he's such an important player for Leicester City.
Just popping up in that right side of midfield in an advanced area, and every time he gets his head up, he's looking to deliver. You see, that looked like it was almost inch perfect again, but Vardy just misses it. But he's offside, and anyway, but Tielemans is the one that's unlocking them. He's the one that's picking up space, finding passes, causing him loads of problems.
Another player, Youri Tielemans, who has been spoken about. I think this is probably something that Brendan Rodgers is going to have to deal with because he has such good players in his squad. Youri Tielemans being spoken about to go to Arsenal.
It is, and I think Tielemans has been spoken about for a few seasons now. Hasn't he been linked with a lot of clubs, and it's just holding on to these players, and you can see why. They produce consistently in the Premier League week in, week out, and you know that's what clubs want. They want players that can come in and make an impact straight away, and there's 3 or 4 players in this Leicester team that could go to other clubs and definitely do that. It's just how ambitious are Leicester.
Is it a distraction when you've got all this, with players perhaps thinking about leaving or not really sure where they're going to be?
It's only a distraction when the players distract, and at the moment you can't see that being a distraction for those players. If those players have got one eye on a move, or they're actually contemplating going and it affects their game, that's when it changes. But at the moment you wouldn't say that any of these players look like the talk or the whispers in the background is affecting their performance levels, which is what you want. They're being very professional about it.
Well, Brendan Rodgers, as we mentioned before, saying in his pre-match press conference, which of course he was questioned quite a lot about the transfer window, whether they will be doing any business or whether there'll be any other players leaving, but in his eyes he's just focusing on the football. That's what he says anyway, and we'll see whatever happens. Still quite a few more weeks to go until that transfer window deadline closes. I'm sure a lot of the Premier League teams will still be doing some business as well, so it'll be interesting to follow along.
Yeah, it's always really interesting, and you know, these first few weeks, how teams set up, does any injuries happen? The teams feel like they've not strengthened and they need to get those last minute deals done because they feel worried about how the team started off. And you know, the first few games can be quite telling in the mindset of how managers go about and what they feel they need. But yeah, as a manager, you can I always remember man just saying to me, they can only control the controllables. This is something that they can only be in charge of, getting 11 players in the pitch and getting them to play formation they want. Everything external, they might have lists of players they want to bring in, the club might have ideas about who they want to sell, but that's not always down to the manager.
Well, half an hour played here at King Power, still goalless though. Not too many chances coming in. One big one though from James Maddison, just missed that one, and perhaps the best chance of the first half so far. On 5 Sports Extra, but it's Maddison who has the ball at his feet inside Leicester's half, and now an opportunity for Fofana to come running forward, and he's got quite a bit of space as well. Castagna's got the ball now on the right side. Back to Fofana it goes, and he's looking for some options, decides to go back to Castagna. Now Fofana. This is Maddison. Through the middle now for Leicester. Dewsbury Hall, nice bit of play, and Maddison decides to release a shot. Always ambitious from the position where he was, quite a few yards away from the goal, and it went flying.
Yeah, a little 1-2 at Dewsbury Hall, creates a space for himself, and you always found some of the balls just caught under his feet. You can tell he can't, when he gets in those positions, he wants to get his head up, he wants to whip into that far corner, but it's right underneath his foot, so he's just hacking at it, and yeah, it was never going to threaten the goalkeeper.
Well, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, one of the big players for Leicester last season, was picked as the Players' Player of the Year. Almost looked like Wissa went down in the box. Nothing really of too many complaints from the Brentford side. Now Leicester coming forward again, as you can hear the cheers coming forward for Jamie Vardy, who has the ball to his feet on the left side, looking to get away from Pontus Jansson, who just got a touch in there, and it goes out for another Leicester corner. Yeah,
and it's Dewsbury Hall who doesn't even think about the pass. He receives it and he just whips it into the channel, knowing Vardy's going to make that run, because it's what he does all the time, and Vardy gets out there one-on-one and does what he wants. He tries to get into the box, tries to take him on, and it's good defending in the end, but you know, Leicester have got another corner. They need to just make sure that, you know, Maddison, his delivery can be excellent, but it's been too close to the Brentford defence and not really giving Leicester a chance to attack it.
So Maddison again for Leicester, and they're just holding off taking this corner because a couple of the players just moving around positions. Fofana's been asked to come into the penalty area to try and get some more bodies in there, so it's Maddison who takes the corner kick, and the head is there! And it's the opening goal for Leicester City! And the touch came from Timothy Castagna, who just guided in past David Raya. And the King Power Stadium erupts.
It's much better pace in the ball for Maddison. He whips it in, Castagna gets in front of his man, it's just a glancing header, gets back into the far post. It's well worked, and it's the first time they've made the first contact with the ball in the box, but the pace Maddison puts on it is everything you need. Castagna drives across the near post and the flick into the far corner. It's a great header, but the delivery is brilliant.
Well, Timothy Castagna scored the opening goal in Leicester's 2-1 win against Brentford back in March of this year. He scored the opening goal of Leicester City's Premier League campaign 22-23. And the best chances came for Leicester City in this first half. 33 minutes on the clock, and Leicester City have the lead 1-0.
Yeah, and it's always difficult with Brentford. They set up with 4 players, like just screening in a block. And if you can get a run across those players that they're standing still, it's very hard to then get the first contact. So, you know, Maddison whips the ball in with so much pace, and Castagna just gets across his man, and it's the littlest of touches that puts it to the far corner, but it's a wonderfully worked corner. It's a great goal.
And now Brentford looking to respond as they come straight away. Jansson trying to find the feet of Wissa, who's made his way into the area on the left side. Got a little shot in, and it deflected away for a Brentford corner.
Yeah, good play down the left-hand side. It's the first time they've really threatened with a bit of ball in behind to feet. Wissa gets in, he's in the box, he's almost looking up, he's looking for the cross. He doesn't want to take the shot on, but maybe if he decides to go earlier, he can actually get a bit of a better effort. But Johnny Evans is there with his body in the way, gets the block in. So corner to Brentford as they look to respond to that Leicester City goal from Timothy Castagna. 10 minutes to go until we reach half-time. Corner comes in and it's headed straight out by Jamie Vardy. And Brentford have themselves another corner. Wasn't a great corner again, just that near post area. Vardy's able to go and attack it.
So corner again for Brentford. Jensen with the delivery. That means that first Leicester City defender again. Not a great delivery for Brentford. They'll be disappointed with those two, won't they?
It's identical. You don't beat the first post man, and Vardy this time gets his clearance right, doesn't put it out for a corner, it gets up the pitch, but poor deliveries.
Well, Hickey for Brentford. Back to Janelt. A little bit of space opening up for Hickey, who's trying to drive forward, finds Mbeumo to the right side of him. Now Mbeumo driving into the centre of the field, but it's well defended away by Leicester. Back in it goes from Ben Mee, who was just waiting in that centre circle for Brentford for that rebound to come out to him. And it's Leicester City who are able to tidy things up thanks to James Justin.
Yeah, good positioning there. Steps in, is calm as well, just lays it off to Maddison, and then Leicester on their way. And you know, the little bit of attack Brentford had, they never really looked in control in those forward areas. It was scrappy, and Leicester looked like they were going to be comfortable and be able to defend it.
Leicester City 1, Brentford 0. 36 minutes gone here at King Power Stadium. Timothy Castagne with the goal for Leicester. Only scored 1 goal last season. He's already on the score sheet on the opening day as well. And what a moment that will be for him. Ball with Tielemans, back out to Castagne on the right side. Tielemans just making himself available, but decided to go for Ndidi, who just slipped as he was playing that ball back to Fofana. They've got it in their possession still though, Leicester City. Back out it goes to Evans.
What was interesting about the corner was Maddison was given out because Leicester hadn't got Fofana or Castagne actually into the box. They were just kind of content with staying back, so he stopped it, didn't take it, and forced them to come up the pitch, and then they actually scored a winning header from it. So you know, it's really important that you set up your set plays the way the manager's giving it to you, get your angles right, and you know, put the delivery in.
Evans with that big looping ball forward looking for Castagne, but it was quickly headed away by Rico Henry. And Leicester have the ball back on the halfway line with Amati. This is Justin on the left side. James Justin, one of the players who also was out for a long time for Leicester City, back again last season for them. Another important player has that wing-back role. Amati. And the possession stats will be in favour of Leicester, who have had the better of it. Just seems like Brentford are finding them difficult to get real good chances going forward.
Yeah, it's been scrappy for them every time they've tried to win the ball back. Leicester are pressed and hunted and got it back quite quickly, and then when Brentford do actually get into the final third, it's one of these, it's a fight ball up to Tony or Wissa, who are, you know, not really got much to play, and when they have received it, they've been guilty of giving it away cheaply as well.
Dewsbury Hall now for Leicester, playing it forward, and was looking for Vardy, who's just being crowded out by 3 or 4 of those red and white striped shirts for Brentford.
But you can just see that Brentford have been very focused on screening in the middle of the park, just keeping tight numbers together, not allowing Leicester playing through them. And you can tell they're worried about that Leicester midfield, who have had the lion's share of possession and moved the ball a lot better than Brentford do.
Amati through to Dewsbury Hall, back to the centre circle, and Johnny Evans playing it back onto the left side for Amati. And this is Dewsbury Hall now, making his way through and squeezing his way through a couple of those Brentford defenders. Back out to Justin, it's Maddison on the edge of the box, who tried to release his shot and it just bounced up into the hands of Raya. Yeah,
it's very good play on the left hand side. Dewsbury Hall drops in, gets his head, turns up and sees Justin, who on his left foot just dinks it to the far area edge of the box, and Maddison's in control the whole way. He's watching the volley, he gets a great connection on it, but straight down the throat to the goalkeeper. Doesn't cause him too many problems, but the technique is brilliant from Maddison.
39 minutes gone, so not long until we reach half-time. Leicester City leading by a goal to nil. Thanks to Timothy Castagne. Can tell you in the other 2 o'clock kickoff, Manchester United against Brighton. Brighton 2-0 up against Manchester United, who are playing at home at Old Trafford. That game is live on 5 Live. You can follow full match commentary over there, but here on Sports Extra, Leicester City leading by 1-0. It will be an interesting season for Manchester United, won't it?
It's going to be interesting. What are the chances Ronaldo comes off the bench to score something as well? You can just picture it. But no, what's going on at that club, what's happening, it's just so different to what we've come accustomed to for years. So yeah, it's going to make for interesting. And Brighton, a team that do not like to score many goals either.
Well, just a reminder that you will get all the reaction to the opening weekend of the Premier League action on the Football Daily podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that on BBC Sounds. A new episode dropping every morning. And of course, whilst you're on the Sounds app, you can check out the Fantasy 606 podcast. That's with Ali Bruce Ball, Chris Sutton and Statman Dave going through all of that, where the Thursday guys give you brilliant insight, really, and advice into the world of fantasy football. Are you involved in that?
I haven't actually got involved in it this season. No, I haven't. I missed it out. I might try and get a team together now. It's nice to come and watch a few players and see who you think you might get on the cheap and could cause it be a player for you.
Well, whoever's got Pascal Gross for Brighton will be doing well, because he scored those 2 goals against Manchester United in the other 2 o'clock kickoff. Here it is, Leicester 1, Brentford 0, 41 minutes on the clock. It's Leicester City who have the ball with James Maddison, and they are looking the more comfortable side, you can say, really, in the first half, especially after that opening goal thanks to Timothy Castagna. Now Dewsbury Hall is just trying to get that ball away from Mbeumo and Vitaly Janelt. They've not been able to keep it though, Brentford, and it's back out to James Maddison. He just gets away from Jensen, out to Tielemans, off the post, back out to Dewsbury Hall, still not cleared away. This is Maddison. Well, they can breathe a sigh of relief there, Brentford, because that was incredibly close.
Yeah, so quick. Maddison again. You see, he's trying to line up the shot, but then Tielemans finds it to his feet. He catches it really well, hits the post, comes back out. Maddison's then on the rebound, tries to finish off. Brentford gets some bodies in the way, but Brentford are hanging on here. You know, it's going to be a long season for them if they can't keep possession of the ball, because Leicester have dominated possession, dominated chances. They've been all over them, and Brentford have really struggled to get out of the half.
Incredibly, still Leicester leading by just 1-0 but that Yuri Tielemans strike from the edge of the box, and we've seen him hit some incredible strikes just off the post, and it's the woodwork that has saved Brentford this time. They've got themselves another corner, which is how they scored the last time, and it will be James Maddison to take this. And yes, Wesley Fofana is right in the mix in the penalty area.
You can see he's just trying to put off Raya. He's trying to get between him and his man, but I never like zone marking. I always just feel like you're vulnerable.
So Maddison delivers this corner kick, and this time David Raya, with his hands up in the air, grasps onto the ball. Well, they've taken it quickly, Brentford, with Tony looking to play through to Wissa, who was the only Brentford player really waiting for that ball to come. And Ivan Toney hoping to take that throw in for Brentford, but he's going to leave it for Aaron Hickey instead. What does the Brentford manager Thomas Frank need to change, in your opinion, at the second half?
It's hard because it's the middle of the park that's causing problems. It's Maddison, it's Tielemans, Dewsbury Hall. They're the ones that are causing so many problems. So do you put an extra body in there to try and combat that, or do you put a player up front to try and give them an option and push them back slightly? You know, they're the two options you go with. But you know, I think you need to get hold of Maddison, you need to get hold of Tielemans. They're the ones that are controlling the game, they're dictating the tempo of it as well. And up front, you know, they've got 3 guys up there now, Tony, Wissa and Mbeumo, and none of them are really featuring because they're not getting the ball to them at all.
Well, Janssen has the ball, back to Hickey it goes, who just gets that run past Dewsbury Hall. It's a quickly paced run from him, really. Decides to go back to Janelt though, who's just directly behind him, over the top. That ball goes to Matthias Jensen as plenty of the fans inside this stadium start making their way inside for their half-time refreshments, because we've only got about 30 seconds until we find out how much time will be added on in this first half. Leicester City leading by 1-0. Timothy Castagna with his first goal of the season and Leicester City's first goal of the 22-23 season as well. Now it's Norgard for Brentford into the centre circle, finding Ben Mee and just getting ushered off the ball, and they've too much pressure on them really. They've given the ball away again, and now it's Jamie Vardy who's looking to come forward. Plays it across to Tielemans, halfway inside the Brentford half. Back out to Maddison, who's in the penalty area now. Maddison will keep on going, but he's being crowded out, and in the end it was well taken away by Norgard.
Again, great hustle from Leicester, win the ball back, and then it's Tielemans who finds Maddison this time, and when he gets in, I know he wants to cut back in, he wants to open that right foot to whip it around, but there's a left foot shot is on. Just take it across your body and hit it.
Into a minute of added time in this first half. Leicester City lead by 1-0. Shrewsbury Hall has the ball on the edge of the box, looking to swing it in as Jamie Vardy and Castagna were both waiting for it. Not really a great clearance from Brentford, and in the end Norgard had to clear it up for his side, looking for Rissa, who was hanging around up front, but no one able to get hold of that ball, and they haven't really threatened Danny Ward in that Leicester City goal at all this first
Not
half.
at all. You had that one pass over the top for Tony when he takes a bad touch, and I think that's being Brentford. Their forwards, their touch has not been great either. When they have limitedly got the ball up to them, they've given away really cheaply, and they're not brought the team up the pitch. So, you know, massive improvements for Brentford in the second half. They want to compete in this.
Well, half-time here at King Power Stadium. Leicester City go in 1-0 up thanks to Timothy Castagna, who scored the opening goal for Leicester City. Guided a header from a corner kick that James Maddison sent in brilliantly well, and there was Castagna just to guide it into the back of the net. David Raya had no chance of saving that. Leicester City definitely decide on top in the first half. And your thoughts, Stephen, on that first half?
Just, honest, Leicester dominated from start to finish. Brentford were feeding off scraps. Leicester have been camped in the Brentford half, passing the ball well, movement's been good. When they've moved it quickly, they've been able to pull them out. Brentford have been just trying to set up and block the space, get possession of the ball and then fire forward, and it's been really difficult. The front men they have fed off scraps, but like I said just previously, when they have received it, they've given the ball away too cheaply and not allowing their team to come up the park. So, you know, Brentford need to really improve the second half, because Leicester look like they could get 2 or 3. You know, they haven't really threatened them behind as much as they probably like, but in front of them in the midfield three, Shrewsbury Hall, Tielemans, Maddison, they've all been contributing loads in that final third of the pitch and look dangerous.
Stephen, thank you for your time in the first half. We'll be back in the second half, but for now we're going to head over to 5 Live to get the action from around the grounds, and as I mentioned, we'll be back for uninterrupted coverage of this match. Leicester City leading at half-time by 1-0 at the start of the second half.
BBC 5 Live.
It's that time of the year, a new football season, and that means a new series of the Footballers Football Podcast.
I'm Mikel Antonio, and this year you can expect lots more from me and my pal Callum Wilson.
We'll be discussing transfers, injuries, goals.
Oh, no. It'll be me talking about the goals. And this season we'll be joined by football fanatic Ricky Hayward Williams.
You know what, boys? I cannot wait to get started, and this is the only place where you can hear what top professional players think about all things Premier League.
The Footballers Football Podcast.
Let's just bring it on.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Credit to the visitors. They deserve it. Steve Crossman's here with us.
They do, and we will talk much more about that after we get the half-time at Leicester. Pat Murphy.
Leicester are leading Brentford 1-0, and they deserve it. Brentford's only chance wasted by Tony. His first touch not good enough. An important early rehabilitatory save from Ward, sprawling a brave save. Ward in for the talismanic Schmeichel, who left it earlier this week. Maddison has been superb, so has Tielemans. Tielemans has hit the inside of the post. He was also followed by a flying save from Raya. Maddison laid on the goal for Castagna. Perfect in-swinging corner, deft near post header. They deserve it. They play some good stuff. Very impressed by the left-footed Shrewsbury Hall in midfield. Gives Leicester balance. Leicester 1, Brentford 0.
England manager Gareth Southgate's just been posing for a couple of photographs in the director's box away to our left-hand side. He's disappeared down the tunnel. Erik ten Hag bounced out of the players' tunnel at the start of the game, but he has stormed back into it, and that is because of an outstanding performance from this Brighton side. Dion Dublin, that second Brighton goal is one of the best goals I've seen in ages. It actually started with that Trossard flick right down by the corner flag.
Doesn't surprise me, Steve, that they've come here knowing, and I did say before the game, maybe they think they've got Man United's number. They have in that first 45. I just feel that they've been set up good. The application of the players is what I love. The application, how they squeeze together, they defend together, they work so hard. They're playing some really good football, and what's happening is they're stretching Man United. They're making Man United do what Man United should be doing to Brighton on their home patch, making the pitch big. Danny Welbeck's putting the fear of God in the two centre halves, and the fullbacks don't know what to do, whether to go or to stay. Brighton have got it spot on. Man United have got so much work to do.
I'm just looking at some of the messages we've had. 85058 at 5 Live Sport. If you're a Brighton fan and want to show off, we want to hear from you. Equally, if you're a Man United fan, you can vent to us, no problem. And there's a lot of them. Paul, what is going on? They don't look any different. Pat, new season, same old United. Joe, Ten Hag looks out of his depth. I mean, look, it's 45 minutes, Dion. And I suppose that there is a reason why this Manchester United at the minute might not look transformed, because apart from a couple of names, it is the same Manchester United.
Well, it is, but we've got a different manager. The manager's obviously trying to put his own philosophy on this team, trying to make them play a different way, trying to apply a different attitude. It hasn't shown in the first 45 minutes. We can only judge United on what we see on the pitch. That is it. The manager's had 45 minutes. Leave him alone for now. If he keeps getting it wrong, then you can get on his back. It's 45 minutes, leave him alone. Let's see how he reacts at half-time. And let's see how the players come out as well. And I've said it many, many times. Is it only the manager? Have all the other managers been wrong? Sometimes the players have got to hold their hand up and say, listen, I've had a stinker over the last 2 or 3 years. I think I've got to pull my socks up.
We wouldn't normally do transfer news at half-time, but Manchester United are clearly in need of players. The new manager wants some in. The Athletic, Laurie Whitwell and James Horncastle, two very, very reliable journalists at The Athletic, reporting that Manchester United have made a bid for a striker, Dion. I don't think you would guess it, if I'm completely honest. We were mentioning earlier that Ralf Rangnick has gone off to manage Austria. It is an Austrian striker, Marko Arnautovic. Thoughts?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
that would put the cat among the pigeons.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I was only reading the other day that they were looking at what was described as an Ighalo-style signing, and that would be an Ighalo-style signing. Whether or not that's what they need, John Murray, is another question.
Well, it's interesting. We were making the point yesterday at Everton when I was there with Pat Nevin. Clearly, Everton want a striker, and we were talking about, who would it be? Who can they get who you would say would be able to make an impact in the Premier League and score goals in the Premier League? I think that's quite a difficult call, but Arnautovic has scored goals in the Premier League.
And the Ighalo signing worked out pretty well, and you would have said that some people might have said the same thing. I might have had a quizzical look about him before that happened. What would make a difference, of course, is getting in a new midfielder, which is something they've obviously been looking at with Frenkie de Jong. But a brief word on another striker who's playing on the opposite team. I read an interview with Danny Welbeck the other day, Dion, with him talking about having had his first full pre-season in a long time. He's been brilliant.
Shows. It absolutely shows. He looks in good nick. I've got to say, his movement's been good, his strength. And as a centre forward, psychologically, you want to have that edge where defenders are worrying about you. Where is he? Oh no, he's here. He's stronger than me. He's quicker than me. You kind of won the battle if that's the case. And judging by his performance in the first 45 minutes, Welbeck has been absolutely outstanding. And just before John comes in, I'm looking at the Brighton subs. They are out on the pitch. I can't see any Man United subs out on the pitch. Brighton subs are on the pitch. They're doing a proper warm-up. They're moving about. They're looking sharp. They've got a coach with them. That's great to see.
On Danny Welbeck, who is 31 now, when I covered a match towards the end of last season, a Brighton match, and I was asking Johnny Cantor from BBC Sussex, who covers them all the time, I said, has he got any interests of doing media work or anything like that? And Johnny said, actually, I've asked him that question, and he said to me, I'm not getting involved in that sort of thing yet. I'm still playing football, and I've got a lot of football left in my career, or words to that effect.
Yeah, well, we've certainly seen that this afternoon. There are no Manchester United substitutes out, but the rakes are out on the pitch, and the players, you can argue, have dug themselves a pretty big Hull. Dion, John, thank you very much for the time being. There has been another try in Super League for Dave Woods.
Yes, 3 minutes left to play. It's St Helens 20, Castleford 12. A hat-trick for Beretta Ferremo. 3 in 13 minutes. They've missed all 3 conversions. Castleford, if they'd not done that, if they'd landed one of them, it could have been a really fascinating finish. As it is, Saints should hang on here, you'd think. They lead by 20 points to 12 with 3 minutes to go.
We'll be round all of the live action in the Commonwealth Games, and we'll make our first trip of the day to the London Stadium, which is our base for 4:30 commentary of the champions Manchester City, who get their season underway at West Ham United. We will do all of that after the news on 5 Live with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon. Research by the BBC has found holiday food vouchers for children on free school meals have been cut in value or stopped by around 40 councils across England this summer. Many say they're putting money into holiday activities and food programmes instead. The government says it's invested more than £240 million for local authorities to spend on families with children. The former Conservative leadership contender Penny Mordaunt says people misinterpreted Liz Truss's comments about not giving handouts to people struggling with energy bills. The Foreign Secretary says she'll focus on tax cuts instead if she becomes the next Prime Minister. Meanwhile, the former Labour PM Gordon Brown has called on Boris Johnson and his 2 potential successors to come up with an emergency budget this week to deal with the cost of living crisis. He's warning of a financial time bomb for families when energy prices rise again in October. And detectives investigating the disappearance of a student nurse, Awami Davis, in South London have arrested a 5th man. The 33-year-old is being questioned on suspicion of kidnap. 4 others who were being held have now been released on bail.
This is 5 Live Sport
with Steve Crossman.
Well, what a first half we've had here at Old Trafford. Manchester United 0, Brighton 2 at the break. Great day so far for Brighton boss Graham Potter, the man from the Midlands, and we're going to take you to Birmingham right now. The Commonwealth Games. England have lost their netball bronze medal match to New Zealand. Betty Glover.
Yeah, it's bronze for New Zealand and heartbreak for England, Steve. At full-time, New Zealand 55, England 48. Despite England cutting the Silver Ferns lead down to just 4 at one point, England spent majority of the game chasing New Zealand after they took a very slender lead after the first quarter. Quite a similar story to yesterday's semi-final, actually, and it seemed England just lost their heads and didn't have the answers. A disappointing game for the Roses, who came into this as defending champions. Later, Jamaica are hoping to make history by winning gold for the first time against Australia.
Let's go to the NEC. Busy day of boxing finals for Jonathan Overend.
It's fabulous entertainment for the ticket holders here in Birmingham today. We're into the afternoon session and yet another final with home nation's interest in the gold medal fight. This is Dylan Eagleson, the 19-year-old from Northern Ireland, who has impressed us throughout the tournament, and he's taken Abraham Mensah from Ghana all the way into the final seconds. There's only about 10 seconds remaining in the third round, although having said that, the referee has just stopped it because some adjustments are required in the Ghanaian corner. But Eagleson has impressed so much that he's fought his way back into this final by winning the second round on all 5 judges' scorecards. He dropped the first round, so the comeback is on. Now can he finish with a flourish and secure the gold medal? They're both swinging wildly. Mensah is charging around the ring like a bull, but Eagleson thinks he's done enough as the bell goes. Another quite superb gold medal fight here at the NEC in Birmingham. And has Dylan Eagleson done enough to win Northern Ireland's first gold medal in the boxing ring? Wales have won 1 gold through Rosie Eccles already today. Scotland have won 2 through Sam Hickey and Sean Lazzarini. There have been silver medals for Taylor Bevan for Wales, Carly McNall for Northern Ireland, and for Demi Ray, Jade Resden and Kieran MacDonald of England. But that was most definitely one of the fights of the week. And as we await the decision, which will come in the next few seconds, we wonder whether the Northern Ireland man has just done enough. As I say, he dropped that first round, but he came back superbly in the second, and now we'll hope that his final flourish has done enough to sway the judges. Eagleson is in red. Will he get the decision?
Gold medalist in the red,
Northern Ireland's first gold medal of the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in the boxing ring is won by Dylan Eagleson, a name for the future, most definitely. He is the gold medal winner in the men's bantamweight division. Steve.
The tension that you get when the decision is being made, it is just like the noise that you get here at Old Trafford, the quiet that we've had from Manchester United fans during this first half. Elsewhere, England took gold in the men's 4x100 relay, silver for the women. Matt Hudson-Smith and Victoria Hurrigu took silvers in their respective 400-metre finals. England's women were thrashed by New Zealand in the bronze medal cricket match. The favourites, Australia, face India for the gold medal at 5. You can hear commentary of that on 5 Sports Extra. And in Super League, it's finished St Helens 20, Castleford 12. Let's check in at the Women's Open in the final round. Ian Carter.
Yes, still waiting for the leaders to go out, but plenty of British interest on the course, and Charlie Hull off to an awful start. Bogey, double bogey, so she's tumbled back to level par. It's been a decent day for Louise Duncan, 1 under par for the 15 holes she's played. She's in the group at level par. Mel Reid and Jodie Hewitt-Shadoff both at 1 under. Remember, the leader is Ash Buhai at 14 under.
When we're done here at Old Trafford, we'll be taking you to the London Stadium for full commentary of the champions Manchester City at West Ham. United's players are already out. We've got a couple of minutes until the second half gets underway. Let's go to the London Stadium. Conor McNamara, the first opportunity to see Erling Haaland proper.
Yes, good afternoon, Steve. Happy new season to you. Yeah, that cameo in the Community Shield wasn't quite all fireworks and bluster, was it, from the new Norwegian striker? I think Manchester City fans are hoping that it'll fall into his lap a little bit more. There was times when Kevin De Bruyne tried to play through passes that were intercepted.
Well, welcome back to second half commentary of Leicester City against Brentford. Leicester City currently leading by a goal to nil, and we are back underway as well. Leicester City, the team on top when they finished that first half performance. And Stephen Kelly, what are you hoping that no change? Oh, before we go into that, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall with a fantastic strike on the edge of the box, and it just trickled into the back of the net. David Raya was reaching for it, but he couldn't get there. And what a start that is to Leicester City. It came out of nowhere. Dewsbury Hall saw his opportunity and he took it.
Leicester just starting off where they finished the first half. Unbelievable play through the lines. Everybody getting involved the pass, and it comes to Barty. He just sets off Dewsbury Hall, edge of the box. He comes on with his left foot and just rifles it off the far corner. Keeper has no chance. It's another wonderful strike. Those midfield have absolutely dominated proceedings. They've been excellent. The link of play, the shooting from distance, and Dewsbury Hall has been involved in so much good play here. Gets what he deserves, and it's a brilliant strike off the post into the far corner. Goalkeeper has absolutely no chance, and Leicester off to a flyer in the second half.
We'd literally been playing for about 10 seconds in that first half, and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who just saw his opportunity and fired that low shot past David Raya. There was absolutely no chance he was saving that. We keep watching the replays. It just gets better and better and better every time you see it, and that is exactly the way Leicester City would have wanted to start this second half. And straight away Brentford looking to respond, as they were trying to do in the first half. Didn't have any luck there, and now no luck either, but they do get themselves a first corner kick of the second half.
But it's gonna, you go with the second half as Brentford, you go, right, let's get back into this game. We've been, they've been all over us, but let's get a foothold into it. The last thing you want is to see this goal so early, but they just played through them so easy to create the shooting opportunity, and he had so much time and space, but he catches it so well.
So corner kick then to Brentford. Matthias Janssen, the player who will take this, on the far right side, sent in, and it's headed away by Fofana. Straight back out to Janssen, who keeps it into play. Rico Henry will pick up on it. Ball goes in and away by Fofana again, who's just keeping it steady at the back for Leicester City, who can now come forward with Dewsbury Hall, who opened up that second half in some style, seconds onto the pitch, and he'd already got himself on the score sheet. A second goal for Leicester City, 2-0 up, and we are only played 2 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, you say to your team more of the same, but you don't expect them to go out and do it straight away. And that middle of the park, Maddison, Tielemans, Dewsbury Hall, they've been so influential on how the game has gone. They've been picking up great position in the ball. Here we go again, a little 1-2 with Tielemans and Madison.
Tielemans looking to play through the middle to Jamie Vardy, who was waiting to collect it, but it was well defended in the end by the two centre-back pairings of Pontus Jansson and Ben Mee, who have had quite a bit of work to do this afternoon so far. It's Dewsbury Hall who has the ball to his feet, sends it back to Amate and now Johnny Evans. And I will give you the teams, but you never know with Leicester City when they're going to score. But these are the two teams unchanged from that first half, no changes being made at half-time. So for Leicester City, Danny Ward in goal, the back three, Fofana, Evans and Amate, Castagna and Justin on the wings, Tielemans, Ndidi and Dewsbury Hall in midfield, and then in that number 10 role, Maddison, and then ahead of him, Vardy. Really though, although the scoreline is 2-0 for Leicester City, Jamie Vardy not really having to be needed that much in this game because it's come from the midfield.
Yeah, the way he's playing though, he's run off the shoulder. You can see he's stretching their back four, and giving Maddison space like that. He's just there now, and you know what he's doing is vitally important.
Tielemans urged to shoot, and so he does. This time Raya gets to it. Only a couple of yards out from the penalty area, but you know he can hit them, Youri Tielemans, and he's always ambitious with his strikes, and that was a good hit.
Yeah, it was, and a great play. Him and Maddison linking up really well, and he's in a really good area. He's actually, you can see he's disappointed he doesn't get better contact on it. He puts it in the right direction, it's just too close to the goalkeeper, and you can see he's frustrated that he didn't get it. Test him more.
Well, Brentford have the ball in their possession, so I can quickly take you through their team, who is also unchanged from that first half. David Raya in goal, the back four of the new signing Aaron Hickey, alongside other new signing Ben Mee, Pontus Jansson, the captain, and Rico Henry make up the back four for Brentford. Then Tali Janelt, Christian Norgard and Matthias Jensen in midfield, with Mbeumo, Tony and Wissa the front three for Brentford. But that was something we'd spoken about at the end of the first half, was that Ivan Toney hasn't really been able to be brought into the game. They've been switching it around a little bit in terms of position, and Mbeumo and Tony and Wissa sort of switching it around, but they haven't really had any luck.
No, they've really just kind of interchanged, but they've not actually contributed at all to Brentford. The lack of service up to them is one thing, but then the ball has come to them. They've been really guilty, giving away cheaply, not providing up for a team. And you know, in the first half, he had a great view of the right back Hickey, who was getting on the ball, and he's looking up, and you just see he has no options whatsoever to pass it to, and that's frustrating. You know, you want to move forward, you want to have a player, but they're in behind people. They're almost hiding behind the Leicester defenders and not giving that option. So they need to improve all round if they want to get into this game.
Now Matthias Jensen for Brentford has it in the centre circle, looking to bring it forward. Ben Mee on the left side, finding Rico Henry. He's just being crowded out by Youri Tielemans and forced back to Matthias Jensen. This is Ben Mee now, looking for that ball forward into the feet of Wissa. Wissa is waiting for a bit of support. He's just being ushered to the side by Fofana. Ben Mee was there in the end. Wissa with that ball across and easily into the hands of Danny Ward.
Yeah, you know what, it's a bit better. Wissa starts off in the middle of the pitch and makes a run on the outside, but what's disappointing is when he vacates that space, no one then tries to take her up. Tony's kind of ambles in there without any real intent to try and get in and make contact with the cross whatsoever. It's too close to the goalkeeper. And anyway, but you know, it's when one player leaves the position, someone else has to try and occupy that space, and they're not doing that at all.
Well, headed forward by Pontus Jansson after that goal kick from Danny Ward, and Brentford looking to try and create something as Norgard comes in and tries to get involved halfway inside the Leicester City half, but they've got the ball back in. It's Dewsbury Hall who's got quite a bit of space to come forward, looking to play that ball infield to James Maddison. A little bit too much pace on it though, and the ball just ran away from Maddison.
Yeah, it's just, you can see he tries to whip it into him, and it's the right idea. Maddison's in behind that midfield again, and if he gets that pass correct, he's running at the back forward with Vardy running off the shoulder, and it would have been a great position for Leicester to be in.
Jensen back to Hickey, who this time can try and run forward. Decides to stop though, as he's just being put off a little bit there. The back, over it goes to Ben Mee, that new signing for Brentford from Burnley. Had such a big career at Burnley. Ben Mee, of course, was injured for the last bit of their season where they were relegated to the Championship. Sort of started to be a bit more of a player coach really at the end, didn't he? But a good move for him.
Yeah, it's a great move from, everybody. As a player, you want to stay in the Premier League as long as you possibly can, and I think with Burnley it was probably inevitable at some point they were going to end up back in the Championship. So for him to get his move to Brentford, it's just Brentford are going to have to improve. Leicester are playing really well, but Brentford have not caused them any problems, and they need to get hold of this game.
The ball into the middle, finding Tielemans, and gets a round of applause because they dealt with it well. Fofana had the ball to his feet. Castagna was in acres of space, decided to go infield, and Brentford have got the ball back. The shot comes in. I think it was Mbeumo who got it on the edge of the area, just couldn't quite direct it on target, and it went wide.
Yeah, it's a decent effort from Mbeumo, but it's kind of really poor from Leicester in the sense of the space Castagna had in this round. So if Fofana opts to go back inside to where they just come from, and there's loads of bodies, they give the ball away. Mbeumo gets out on the right hand side, he cuts in on the left foot and just tries to whip it into the far corner. It's not far away, to be honest. It's a decent effort, but Leicester get away with one there because they had great possession.
Leicester 2, Brentford 0 on 5 Sports Extra. 54 minutes on the clock. Well, we went in 1-0 at half time, and it's Leicester City who, within seconds of starting the second half, doubled their lead thanks to Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall from distance. It was a great low strike with pace, went past David Raya. And Leicester City comfortably 2-0 up against Brentford, who have struggled really to get themselves into this game and struggled to keep hold of the possession. It's Dewsbury-Hall on the left side now, looking to release the pass forward for Justin to chase down, but Brentford have it back in their possession, and it will be Raya just to clear it away from danger, because every time it seems like Leicester are getting themselves up, they're creating those chances.
Yeah, and again, it's a long ball forward, but Wissa or Tony just don't do enough to put off the defenders. It's too easy. I know it's 3v2, but they have to put themselves into the game to allow Brentford to come up the pitch.
Tielemans through to Maddison, onto the centre circle, little flick back there from Ndidi to pass it back to his new captain, Johnny Evans, who will be very pleased with his side if they could keep up this lead against Brentford, starting off his captain's journey. And James Maddison just couldn't keep hold of it. He was right in front of goal on the edge of the D, trying to make his way in, but it was well defended by Brentford, who just got the ball away from him.
Yeah, and it was the pass from the back again, from him actually into Tielemans, who finds space, and then Maddison's ahead of him. But we haven't really spoke much of Ndidi and just the way he allows this team to play, because he's so good at breaking up play, so good at offering cover into the back three. That's those three midfield of Dewsbury-Hall, Maddison and Tielemans would not be able to do what they do if he wasn't behind them, giving that screen.
Well, Castagna with the throw-in right in front of the Brentford technical area. And it looks like Brentford will be ready to make a couple of changes just to get themselves back in this game. And Mbeumo picks the ball up on the centre circle, plays it back to Janelt, and now Norgard through to Jensen on this left side, just waiting for some options. Norgard, Jensen again. It'll be interesting to see who it will be coming off. Looks like it's Josh Da Silva, one of the Brentford players who is going to be coming on for Brentford. Can't quite see who the other one is. The ball is on the centre circle with Ben Mee. Back through it goes to Jensen. This is Henry on the left side to Ben Mee. And well, Brentford giving 2 debuts to their new signings in Ben Mee and Aaron Hickey. How do you think Aaron Hickey has done so far?
I think he's done okay. I think defensively he's looked alright. Attacking wise, he's got pace, and he tries to get forward. He's not really done too much wrong, but you can see it's frustrating for him. And as a fullback watching him, he's getting down the line, he's getting up, but there's just no option for him to pass the ball forward. It's really static in front of him, and there's not really someone there that's dropping it, creating the space. And so often the forwards are occupying the same position.
Wissa, ball taken away from Wissa inside the penalty area by Castagna, and it's quickly kicked away by Danny Ward. I can tell you there will be another debut for Brentford, because Keane Lewis-Potter, who was another new signing for them, who was Hull's top scorer last season, will be coming on for Brentford to make his Brentford debut. It's Matthias Jensen who is replaced by Josh Da Silva. And then the other change will be Ben Mee, so one debutant to the other. Ben Mee's afternoon is over, and probably a debut that he wasn't hoping for, to go off with a defeat, but Keane Lewis-Potter, quite an attacking change from Thomas Frank there for those two changes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, taking your centre-back pairing off is a different one, all right, but you can see they need to get back in the game. They need to have possession of the ball in the Leicester half. They've just not been able to do that, so he's trying to be positive. He's trying to get players into their part of the pitch to create options when they play it forward, that they actually have someone that can receive the ball.
Are they going to go back into a back three then?
Yeah, it's definitely a back three. Yeah, it's gone from a back four to a back three, and they're looking to kind of almost go toe to toe for Leicester in the way they're playing and overload the front areas.
Vitaly Janelt picked up this ball. It was Yuri Tielemans who went down, and then perhaps out of frustration gets that tackle in onto Vitaly Janelt, and the referee spotted it, Jared Gillett, and it will be a free kick halfway inside the Leicester City half, right on this left side. Well, maybe just a bit of frustration perhaps as we watch the replay from Yuri Tielemans.
Yeah. But obviously now with the gun on the back trees, Janelt is operating that left side centre-back position, with Jansen beside him, and I think he's a little bit more mobile, so he can get out and offer, and then I think Rico Henry's offering the wing-back position, so they're looking to try and change up. He's made a positive change, and let's see if it works.
Now Josh Da Silva will take this free kick, but as it went in, it did hit the back of the referee, Jared Gillett, who of course stops play because it was whacked straight into his back, so they'll take it again. Brentford. Well, that must have hurt.
Yeah.
Free kick right into the back.
Yeah, I don't think he knew much about it. There was actually a decent connection to the wall as well.
Well, James Maddison, there will be a drop ball because of that. So, really unfortunate, I guess, for Brentford, because that free kick has just been taken away from them. And that is the rules of the game. Drop ball it was, and Brentford have the ball back in their possession with Rico Henry on this left side.
Yeah, going from a really advantageous position to put a ball into the box with new players and try to get some quality in there, and it's taken away from him. But you know, maybe you shouldn't hit the first man being the referee when you're taking a free kick.
Leicester City leading by 2-0. We've just passed the hour mark here at the King Power Stadium as the sun comes beaming down onto this pitch. It's sort of halfway across the stadium with the fans half in the sun, half out of it. I'm pretty sure most of the fans that are in the shade will be pretty pleased the fact that they aren't having to put their hands over their eyes to get a bit of shade, because it is quite bright this afternoon. But Brentford still looking for that response to going 2-0 down. Ball right in front of the face of goal, and perhaps this could be it. They're right back into it now, Brentford. And it's Ivan Toney, who wasn't going to miss from close range, and he's got his side straight back into this game. It's Leicester 2, Brentford 1.
He's been pretty much anonymous for most of the game, but now with a vital role to play, ball comes into him, he makes the first time he's made a real decent run into the box, the pass in is decent, he takes his touch really well and then puts it away, finishes with the left foot, but his run is excellent. He makes such a clever one in behind the defence of Leicester, and the ball into him was perfect timing. The touch and then the finish is brilliant. He just sets it down, has his body in the way and puts it past the goalkeeper, but it's his first real contribution, and he's got his team right back in this.
Well, Brentford's top goal scorer last season, Ivan Toney, has got his goal scoring campaign underway, and perhaps that is the goal that gets Brentford right back into this game, because it was Leicester City who were dominating the chances and the possession and dominating this game really, but Brentford needed something Thomas Frank making 2 changes, but it's Ivan Toney who gets them back in from close range.
And it's the Silva as well who plays the pass. He's just come off, and you see when he gets it, he's being positive, he's looking forward with it, and to be fair, the timing of the pass and the weight of it is perfect. He just bends it straight into Tony's path. The touch of the finish are excellent, but you know, looking forward, trying to get on the ball, that's what they were missing.
Leicester 2, Brentford 1. 63 minutes gone. We could be up for a grandstand finish here, because still plenty of time to go. Brentford have got themselves right back into this, and perhaps that would be exactly what Thomas Frank would have wanted. He changed the formation slightly, changed the substitutions as well, which seem to have made an impact, and they've got plenty of time to get another one.
Yeah, there's loads of time left in the game, and it's great to see a manager identify where they're struggling. He didn't really change at half-time, he let them go. You can see that he thought, this is not working now, I'm going to make in-game changes and try and affect it.
Well, it's Brentford who look to come forward again. Ball taken away from them though, and it's picked up by Dewsbury Hall just inside the Brentford half. And they're looking to play it through to Justin on that left side, but the ball just taken away from him. And Brentford can try and come forward again. Big looping ball over the top. And Keane Lewis Potter, one of the substitutions who came on not that long ago, who is putting the pressure on at the back of Danny Ward. Keane Lewis Potter, one of the new signings for Thomas Frank in this side, signed from Hull. He was actually linked with a move to come in January, but he made his move in the summer. Of course, as we mentioned, Hull City's top goal scorer last season, 13 goals in the Championship, 3 assists as well, so we know he can score. What do you make of him as a Brentford player now?
Yeah, Jonas is exactly the type of player you think Brentford sign. Good statistics, good age, player that can come in, doesn't cost a whole lot of money, and you know that's the way the Brentford have operated for years. They've been successful because they're in the Premier League with it. But when he's come on, you can see he's lively. He's something different from to deal with, and it's allowed Tony then to move off. So Tony's, instead of being central, he's gone to the right slightly a little bit, which where he made the run for the goal. So it's just occupying another player, which gives them a little bit more of a dimension up front.
Just 21 years old, Keane Lewis Potter, making his Brentford debut this afternoon. It's Leicester who lead by 2-1, but Ivan Toney with that response for Brentford only moments ago from close range, getting them right back into this game. Dewsbury Hall had the ball, but it just got shoved down. I think it was Norgard who was involved in that. It will be a free kick to Leicester City, halfway inside the Brentford half, directly in front of goal as well. It will be a free kick from distance, but another opportunity for Leicester.
Yeah, to be fair, they've got players that can hit from here. Madison, Tielemans eyeing it up. I'm not too sure if it's a little bit too far out to really cause a problem to the goalkeeper.
Well, having a bit of a discussion, Madison and Yuri Tielemans. And it will be Madison as Tielemans starts making his way through. Johnny Evans, the captain, also getting involved as well. So Madison with that flick over, the header's there, oh, off the post! Once again, Brentford are saved by the woodwork. Twice Leicester City have hit the post. But they're still very much in this, and it was James Justin Wright involved in that.
Yeah, it's a great little ball. Like I said, it's too far out, but he just dinks it. It might be Fofana coming around the far post, gets his head on it. He's up, he's strong, he's big. Great direction, and the keeper's beaten, but just bounces back off the post. And he's actually fortunate, Ryan, that when it comes back off him, it doesn't go back towards his own goal. It actually goes out because it hits the post, come back, hits him in the chest. But it's a really well worked free kick. Timing is perfect. It's a great little delivery from Madison in, and lucky not to end up with a goal.
Something we haven't mentioned, Stephen, is the fact that the two goalkeepers are pretty much in identical kits, which is really confusing.
It is very confusing. You're looking at them here. They're two yellow kits, either in the pitch. They are for opposite teams, but it's a funny one.
Is that allowed?
I'm
clearly it is,
yeah,
because they're doing it, but it shouldn't be. Both in exactly the same kit. Bright yellow socks, yellow shorts, yellow tops. David Raya and Danny Ward, which is very confusing for us as we're commentating, but
be interested to see if Roy comes up for a corner towards the end of the game.
Yeah. Well, exactly. What if the referee doesn't spot it? He could just punch it in. Rico Henry with the ball back to Janelt. Now Pontus Jansson. Across to Hickey on that right side, who's looking to release, and Burmo is just going up against. James Justin did enough just to put him off there.
Yeah, it's good covering from Justin, but you can see Brentford by adding those players in, it's just occupying the mindset of the Leicester defenders. You can see it's dragging people out of position so then they can make the runs in behind. Before it was so static and everything up front, there was no movement whatsoever. Now they're moving a little bit more, they're creating a bit more space, they're willing to run in behind. So, you know, the only thing is though, it will leave gaps when Leicester pick up the ball, and those midfielders with the quality they have in the middle of the park could probably cause them loads of problems when they get the ball back.
Well, a reminder, you can watch the highlights of today's Premier League games on Match of the Day too. That's at 10:30 p.m. tonight on BBC One. We've had some cracking goals in this game, and I'm pretty sure Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, when he gets home tonight, will be putting on Match of the Day just to re-watch that goal from the opening minutes of the second half. And he'll be pretty pleased with himself for that one, won't he?
And I think he'll be featuring very much so in most of the highlights from this game, because he's been very influential on all the good play Leicester have had in that final third. He's been a big part of it.
Well, also on Match of the Day tonight, you will be seeing highlights of West Ham against Manchester City. That game gets underway at 4:30, and you can hear full match commentary on BBC Radio 5 Live of that one, the champions Manchester City at West Ham. It'll be interesting really to see how those top teams in the Premier League will do this season. A lot of people still expecting Manchester City to hold on to the title. Liverpool coming up, Arsenal looking good as well, Spurs too after their win yesterday.
Spurs top of the table, took a picture of that just to keep it. and obviously ahead of Arsenal.
Ball through. Lewis Potter, who was just in a bit of space there, he was.
But this is what he's doing now. All three centre-backs are being occupied so they can't cover for each other. Potter then has gone off the shoulder this time. I think it's off of Marty, but he gets back and defends well. It's just given Leicester a different problem to deal with, because they've got three players now instead of just being comfortable dealing with two.
Well, 70 minutes gone. It's Leicester who still lead by 2-1, but Brentford have got themselves a corner kick on that far right-hand side. And they'll be hoping they can find an equaliser. They have been better in this second half, Brentford. Thomas Frank changing things around as the corner comes in. And it's quickly grasped into the hands of Danny Ward, and nothing too testing for him.
Yeah, disappointing there. Just puts it straight in the goalkeeper, and you know, I think Brentford in good positions to put balls in the box, and they've got decent height, they've got players that want to attack it, but too often not, they're hitting the first man or they're put on top of the goalkeeper, and it's just letting Leicester off the hook.
Well, Leicester City ready to make a change of their own as well. Patson Daka, who's wearing a new number this season, number 20. Ready to come on, but before that it's James Justin who's looking to try and keep hold of this loose ball. He went quite a way forward. Well, I think the ball went out of play, he couldn't keep it in, but he was asking for a foul. He was just pushed over there. But here comes a change then for Leicester City, and it will be Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, who's had a brilliant game really, and he's going to be replaced by Patson Daka.
Yeah, that is a strange one. Probably not being in the game slightly as much since he scored his goal, but I still think he's such a threat for them. He's been, like I said, the highlight reel is going to be very heavily featuring Dewsbury-Hall, so for him to go off on this cool point, but maybe that comes on and offers a little bit more security defensively. Because Brentford could see a start and get into it, and he'll probably sit a little bit deeper than Dewsbury-Hall does.
Well, Shandon Baptiste for Brentford also readying himself to come on. Of course, this new change in the Premier League, that you can make 5 substitutions. Are you a pro 5-sub kind of person?
I am and I'm not. I am for like, it's great for players, for their, you know, just the players if they're injured, if they're tired, to be able to change them. For health reasons, it's great, but it gives a massive advantage to teams that have big, strong squads. That it really does. The looks at Brentford, looks at Leicester. teams like that, you can overpower them the last 25 minutes of a game. If you can bring off world-class players off the bench, it makes a huge difference. I understand it when it comes to, you know, player welfare and the amount of minutes they're playing every year, but it's a great attack here.
Well, it's Wisser for Brentford, who's coming forward. Wisser decided to shoot from outside the area, a little bit to the left, and it went sky high.
It's the first header that Tony has actually probably won all day, but Wisser, when he picks up, he's in a great position. He's driving forward, he comes in on a stronger right foot, and he wants to hit it, but he gets it completely wrong. But you can see Daka now has gone up to a wide right position. Tielemans has gone back in, and he's sitting almost side by side with Ndidi, so that's the defensive change, and Madison's dropping behind him, but it's a little bit more an attacking role. He looks like he's gone right up beside Vardy.
Well, it was Christian Norgard who was the replacement that came off for Shandon Baptiste, who's come on, and it's now Madison who was looking to fire a shot past David Raya, but he knew he'd messed that up as soon as he hit it, as he goes to ground and looks a little bit disappointed with that.
Yeah, you can see he was kind of between two minds. He's driving forward, he picked the ball up really well, and Daka made a run, so he's almost half between chipping into Daka to try and put him through on goal or the shot, and in the end he does neither.
2-1, Leicester City lead, 74 minutes on the clock, and in the other commentary game over on 5 Live, it is the same scoreline. Manchester United have got themselves back in it. Manchester United 1, Brighton 2. It was actually an own goal by McAllister, so will be interesting to see what happens there. That full match commentary over on 5 Live right now. But here, Leicester currently leading by 2-1 against Brentford, and they were coming forward as well, and Brentford have got themselves a corner kick.
Again, it's Potter just picking up a really good position. He just drops deep, opens his body up and tries to play a little ball in behind, which Evans has to read and get and clear, gives the corner away, but he's just making them think about where he's popping up. He's got good movement off the ball, and he's causing Leicester problems.
So there's a short corner, quickly sent in, and it's kicked out straight away by James Justin, who wasn't taking any risks there, and it goes straight to David Raya. Cross on the right, far side to Mbeumo, who was just looking to cross that ball in, but it was blocked in the end by Amati.
Yeah, you can see Brentford, you know, when Leicester clearing it, Brentford are picking up and they're getting the second ball now. They're not as often giving away in the forward areas, and they're getting sustained possession in the Leicester half, which is making them really concentrate the defending.
15 minutes to go. Brentford have got themselves a corner. They currently trail Leicester City by 2-1 here on 5 Sports Extra. Plenty of bodies of those red and white striped shirts in as the corner comes in, and it's met straight away with the header. Vardy, who just headed it away.
I'm sure Thomas Frank's going to be really disappointed with the delivery into the box from corners. It's hit the first man on so many occasions.
Well, Ivan Toney able to keep that ball in. It's Jan Alt who looks to cross it into the box, and quickly claimed by Danny Ward. And I suppose that's one of the areas that people thought maybe were Leicester City going to replace Kasper Schmeichel, but Brendan Rodgers has been quite straight up, hasn't he, saying that Danny Ward is the #1 goalkeeper now for Leicester City. And here comes another chance, and it was a great delivery in, and Brentford just couldn't guide it into the back of the net.
It's the same combination again. The Silva pops up on the right hand side, comes in as left foot, whips into the far, and Tony's coming in the far post. There's got to be in it for Fafana. Castagna can't keep up with him, and he gets his header wrong. He just heads it down, puts it past the post. Oh, he's got to be kicking himself. He hasn't hit the target there because it's perfectly weighted. He just gets it wrong.
Ivan Toney was in the right place at the right time. He got the connection onto it as well. He was thinking that was going right into the back of the net because there was no chance Danny Ward was getting to it.
It's such a great cross from the Silva. He's put it on a play for him, and Tony, it's almost like it slices off his head slightly. He doesn't get the full-on connection where his head I want.
Well, there's a free kick to Brentford. just outside the halfway line, inside Leicester's half, and they've taken it quickly. Ivan Toney wanted to get on with it, but they've got another free kick now, this time halfway inside Leicester City's half, and it was a free kick onto De Silva.
But again, the two substitutes Frank has made, De Silva, Potter, both having a real big influences. De Silva, when he picks the ball up, like I said, he's looking forward all the time. He's trying to play it, and he's also a real good option from the defenders and midfielders because he's receiving the ball on the half turn. It's made such a difference for them.
So free kick then to Brentford will be Josh De Silva to take this for the visitors. Halfway inside the Leicester City half, just to the left of the centre, and he just has his hands on his hips as he waits for the referee's whistle before he can take this. He's just looking to just loop that ball across. He didn't take a run up at all. He chipped it across, but it was quickly into the hands of Danny Ward.
Leicester kept a real brave high line and allowed Ward to come out and claim it. You know, if they drop back too deep, that puts pressure on Ward, but the defence kept on nerve and kept the high line.
Well, Leicester have the ball in their possession. It's back to Evans, who plays it through to Ndidi through the middle, and now it's Maddison on the left side. He's got options ahead of him and to the side of him, and the option he went for was Tielemans, who goes directly back to Maddison. Now Tielemans infield through to Ndidi. Maddison just building up this opportunity for Leicester City as the blue shirts start to flood the penalty area. Back out it goes to Marty, and now Ndidi again as they just wait for those options to open up. Maddison just got a little push there, but the referee spotted it and play goes on because Leicester have it still in their possession. Fofana back to Evans. Now Maddison has to try and get away from those red and white shirts who, as soon as he gets on the ball, they know he is that big threat for Leicester City. Maddison turning, looking to cut it infield. Gets the ball into the box. Castagna was all the way over on that right side. I think that was the initial aim, but straight into the hands of Raya, who plays it out quickly, and he couldn't get hold of it, Lewis Potter.
Yeah, you can see Maddison, Tielemans, indeed just trying to find a bit of space, work it, and then when Maddison gets it, he's looking for that run of Castagna. He just puts the cross too close to Raya.
10 minutes to go until we hit the 90-minute mark. Leicester leading by 2-1 here on 5 Sports Extra. The ball flicked on over the top there by Patson Daka, who is wearing a number 20 shirt this season, was number 29 last season. A little bit of a change around. Now the ball back to Janelt. It's Wissa, who's just cut back to help out his side as they try and come forward. Janelt dropping back into that defensive position after Thomas Frank took off Ben Mee.
You know, it's a brave decision, isn't it, having a new player on the pitch who you think is probably going to pretty much play most games for them this season. He takes him off knowing he needs to make a change, and he probably not suited to that left side centre back position where you have to have legs to get out and deal in one-on-one situations. So, you know, a big decision, a big call from Frank, and it's worked.
Well, they are going to be making the most of this. 5 substitutions, Brentford, but players just stopped because it's Wesley Fofana who's down for Leicester City. I think he's holding his head as well. Have to wait and see before the referee calls upon the treatment. But Mads Bek Sørensen and Halil Dervisoglu, the two who are ready for Brentford to come on. Leicester City only making 1 change so far in this match. Brentford, on the other hand, using those 5 substitutions to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and you would obviously, from the way the second half's gone, Brentford subs have worked out a lot better. The Drewsbury Hall coming off, that was a strange one to me because he was still causing them loads of problems, and the shape of the team was very good. I know they're trying to combat Leicester and Brentford now and try and change to adapt the way they're playing, but I think the way Leicester were playing before, with Drewsbury Hall on the left hand side, Tielemans on the right, that was caused them a lot more issues. Black up front has been largely anonymous since he's come on.
So Aaron Hickey makes his way off the field for Mads Bech Sørensen. And then Johan Wissa is the other player to be replaced by Halil Devisoglu, who made just one appearance last season, which was in the EFL Cup. Never scored for Brentford before. We'll be hoping for a little bit more action this season, so this Premier League appearance for him for Brentford.
So it looks like Sorensen's gone into the defence. He's left side of the three-way. Janley's gone up to a midfield role, higher, and it looks like Mbeumo's gone to the right wing-back position, so it's complete change of shape, tactics and players in positions, but you know, he's trying to change exactly what he wants, what he needs to try and get more out of this team in the forward areas.
So, free kick to Leicester, and it was taken by the goalkeeper Danny Ward. So pretty much every Leicester City player camped in the Brentford half, and of course now that the scoreline is 2-1 to Leicester City, they'll be hoping they could hold on to this, but they starting to look a bit nervous because Brentford certainly grew into this game, especially in the second half. A much better performance from them.
Oh, it's complete chalk and cheese. The first half I thought Brentford were really poor. They looked completely out of sorts. They couldn't get the grips to the way Leicester playing, but you know, since Leicester scored, that was almost a turning point from Brentford. They changed the style, they changed the system. The Silva and Potter have come on and they've made a huge impact, and be interested to see now with the new changes they've made can make something similar.
Well, Yuri Tillemans was trying to keep hold of this, and in the end the foul goes the way of Brentford as the challenge came in. I think it was onto Shandon Baptiste, who luckily back up on his feet just rolled over the ball onto his back as he landed. Now ball over the top. Looking through to Devisoglu, but it's quickly taken away, and now Fofana for Leicester City can come through the middle. Maddison trying to keep hold of that, but it's Ivan Toney now for Brentford on this left side, looking for a little bit of fancy footwork. Devisoglu took a strike, rebounded straight away. They'll keep on going though, Brentford. In front of their away support. Oh, what a shot from Josh Da Silva. It's a huge equalising goal for Brentford from the edge of the area. It was a super strike, and what a time to equalise with 5 minutes to go.
What a goal. I was just about to say how Toney has come into this game and made, since he scored, look so lively. He wins ahead initially and it worked his way all the way out to Silva, who's been excellent since he's been on. He's looked forward, he's looked bright, he's looked positive, and this time he decides to go alone. He's not looking for the pass. He comes in on his left foot and he absolutely whips to that far corner. It gives Ward no chance. It's a beautiful finish from him. Great goal. And the guile he has and the precision from his effort is brilliant, but it's only more deserved because he's changed the game. He's been so positive since he's come on for Brentford, and that's a fantastic strike.
Well, he just saw a bit of space, didn't he? Took it on his left foot. Wow, what a strike. Top left corner. Josh Da Silva found his spot, picked it out, and he perfectly found the back of the net. And now it's the travelling support of Brentford who are up on their feet, and Leicester have let a 2-0 lead slip.
A 2-0 comfortable lead slip in the sense of how well and how much they were controlling the game, and you've got to give such credit to Thomas Frank. He saw what needed to be done. He made in-game changes really early on, brave decisions against players he's just brought into this club, and it's made such a difference. Da Silva has been excellent. Like I said, he's looked forward, he's looked positive, he's wanted to get on the ball, and then even Janley there made a run into the box which dragged the Leicester defenders across as well.
Well, we're into the final 3 minutes until we hit the 90-minute mark. The offside flag is up against Leicester. It's Leicester 2, Brentford 2. It is exactly the response Thomas Frank wanted from his side, and you have to say that second half performance from Brentford absolutely cancelled out what they did in the first half.
Oh, you know, you talk about forgetting about performance in the first half, and that's what they did. They had to, and you think as soon as the second half starts, to concede a goal like that, you would have felt you know what, that's all the talk, all the information the manager gave him at half time, that would have went out the window. But he didn't just leave the team on, he just thought, you know what, I'm going to change it now, because what I said to them has completely changed. They've gone 2-0 up, we need to adapt, we need to get back into it, and they've done that brilliantly the second half.
Well, the atmosphere inside this stadium all afternoon has been electric. There were nerves starting to build around the stadium for the Leicester City fans, because they felt that Brentford was starting to knock on the door. Patson Daka with the ball now, keeps it into their possession, but Maddison couldn't quite get there, and it was Lewis Potter for Brentford who got hold of the ball, but it's Leicester who have it back. James Justin can't find it. Some space through. Patson Daka now for Leicester, looking to play it in across, and it's taken away from Patson Daka, and now Brentford have an opportunity to come forward. Well, it is going to be quite the end to this game, because both sides looking for that late winner. Evans getting in there from that cross from Ivan Toney, not letting him through, and he has to do some work now, Johnny Evans, to make sure that his defensive backline are in full concentration.
The difference in Toney since he scored, it's amazing what a goal can do to the confidence of a striker. He was completely out of the game in the first half, wasn't affecting it, and you would have felt he could have been someone that could have been taken off. He scores, he gets a great chance to goal the far post, he's involved even in the Silva goal, because he's the one that links the play, and even there pulls off the shoulder, gives him an option, puts a decent cross in. Different player the second half.
89 minutes gone, just the 1 minute to go until we find out how much time will be added on. Leicester City 2, Brentford 2. And it's Brentford who have the ball in their possession. Back to Ryan. And across, and it looks like they're feeling quite comfortable with this now. They've got the momentum on their side after scoring those 2 goals. Ball over the top 2, and Burmo, the flag is up against him though, so this won't count. They have got the ball in the back of the net, and the cheers go from the travelling fans, because they didn't quite spot the assistant referee, who quite quickly put his flag up.
Yeah, for once his flag, these flags up quickly. Sometimes you're waiting an eternity, but he knew he was offside. The play was going, the momentum was going, and he got up quickly.
So we're into 3 minutes of added time. 3 minutes. Leicester or Brentford will be looking to get that late winner and get their Premier League campaigns off to a winning start. It could go either way. The chances have been coming in. What a second half we've had. I mean, some of the goals that we've seen as well, outstanding.
Yeah, the quality of the finish has been brilliant. We've hit the post a couple of times as well, so we've done great effort from distance. But, you know, Leicester just have let this slip, and you have to give credit to Brentford, the way they played, the way they come at them.
Ball out to Castagna on the right side, looking to send it across, picked up by Amati. Back out to Maddison on the left side of the penalty area. He's trying to cut inside, but too many shirts in the way, and he got the cross in the end, and it actually took a rebound, so Leicester City have got themselves a corner kick.
Yeah, he's edge of the box, Silva has him face up, and you know Maddison just wants to come in on that right foot and whip it, or a shot on target or cross to that far post. The Silva does well to get a touch on it.
In the other game, Manchester United still trail by a goal to 2 against Brighton. That game, full commentary of that one on 5 Live. But here it's going to be an exciting end. Maddison with the corner in as it's 2-2. Leicester against Brentford. Shot comes in from Yuri Tillemans, and it was just deflected wide.
Yeah, comes out to me, brings it down, controls it really well in his chest, and is on a half volley, strikes it. It's a great strike, just always fading away from the goal.
Well, we knew that the corner kicks were dangerous for Leicester City. They have been very dangerous in this game. They scored from a corner kick, a brilliant delivery in from James Maddison, which Timothy Castagna was able to head in to get that opening goal in the first half. Yuri Tillemans as well, who's been so dangerous from distance, who's not afraid, is he, to get those shots in, which I suppose is one of the things that Brendan Rodgers allows him to do. When he sees the space, take a shot.
Absolutely, and I think the formation in the first half was allowing him to get higher up the pitch, but they've changed it, and now he's pegged back because he's playing side by side with Ndidi. Now he's getting forward a little bit more because they've sensed that they can try and get into this game.
Our ball flicked on. Tillemans back to Ndidi for Leicester. He's found a bit of space. Patson Daka's there Still not cleared away. Collides with David Raya right at the back post. James Justin. Well, he was going for a little bit of an acrobatic kick there. Patson Daka couldn't quite get the connection he wanted on it. And then James Justin just colliding with David Raya.
Yeah, you see, cross comes in. Both of them are attacking. Daka is behind him, so he tries to go for a buzzer, could miss it. And then James Justin is just flying in. I think he's well won his right to go and try and attack that with his head. But he gets caught. And it ends up diving into the goalkeeper. It's Henry gets the clearance on it. He clears with his left foot. It's a decent touch, but back to a throw-in for Leicester.
A throw-in then on that far side as he sends it straight into the box. Still not quite cleared away. Maddison tried to get the shot away. It was well blocked though. And there goes the full-time whistle. It's a point apiece. Leicester City let a 2-0 lead slip through their fingers. It was a brilliant comeback from Brentford. The substitutions making all the difference. The opening goal coming from Timothy Castagne, all thanks to a fantastic delivery from James Maddison in the first half. Then only seconds into the second half, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall from distance with a super strike, send it flying past David Raya. Well, Brentford knew they needed to do something, so Thomas Frank using all 5 of his substitutions. And did they work? Yes, they did. Ivan Toney getting them right back into the game, making it 2-1 from close range. And then Josh Da Silva, who was the second half substitute from distance, absolutely firing it past Danny Ward to get that 2-2. So a point apiece for both Leicester and Brentford. Stephen Kelly, your thoughts on that game and what a game we've had?
Yeah, you know, you started off second half, I just saw Brentford going to get pushed to the side here. Leicester were just going to control it, but they really changed it. Frank makes those substitutes, Da Silva comes on, and what an influence he had in the second half, involved in the first goal with the cross for Toney, and then the second goal he opens up and he comes in the left one, he puts it away. But apart from that, he put another great crossing for Toney in the far post, and he just puts it wide, and you know, making bright, positive substitutes, changing the game, understanding your team need a lift, they need a change of formation and system, and to identify that. And we spoke before the game about how these managers are such an asset to both of these clubs, and they really are. Rogers, less so in the second half, he didn't go with it. He dropped Tielemans back, and taking Dewsbury Hall off I think was a mistake, because he was a real thorn in the side for Brentford. But really good game, both teams going at literally game of 2 halves. It's such a cliche, but that's exactly what it was.
Who will be the happier of the 2 managers? Because at the full-time whistle, I mean, both teams look slightly disappointed, because it's all that Brentford could have just nicked it at the end.
I think Frank at the end of this game will be happier, because he knows that the first half performance from Brentford was really poor. That given Leicester played really well. So, you know, but they came back into it, they fought hard, they got the bit between their teeth, and they felt like they were going to go on and win this game. And I think for them, they're going to be the much happier side. Leicester will feel like they've given it away. They're in control for large spells of the game, and they kind of went away from that. They kept giving the ball away then, and they lost their shape and their focus, and I think Rodgers will be disappointed that they weren't able to see this through.
Well, goals from Timothy Castagne, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, Ivan Toney and Josh Da Silva finish the game. And as we can see on our screens, Thomas Frank is pointing to Josh Da Silva when he just goes over to the travelling Brentford fans, and that is nice scenes, isn't it? Just to show Thomas Frank and Josh Da Silva he appreciates how much Josh Da Silva has done for his side today.
He's completely changed the game for them. Before he came on, he had no one that was willing to get in the ball and look forward and make those passes, be an attacking threat. Toney looked like he was null and void, he wasn't getting any service, and he looked disinterested. Da Silva comes on, and you can see Frank, he knows the impact he has made. He's got his arm around him, he's pointing at the name on his back. He knows that he has been the major difference in the side picking up a point today, and that's what you want from your players. You want an impact, you want them to come on, you want them to grab the game, and Da Silva did that. He was excellent.
Well, the players have made their way off. Leicester City went in before, and now it's Brentford who are making their way off the pitch. They've got a point apiece. Stephen Kelly, thank you very much for your time. What a Premier League season we've got in store, because that was a fantastic game. Leicester City 2, Brentford 2, it finished. Well, coming up later on Sports Extra at 4:45 this afternoon, it's the women's cricket gold medal match at the Commonwealth Games. But in the meantime, you can keep up to date with all the sporting action over on BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sport website. Bye for now.